Protests are happening at Disney Studios, but it's not coming from Disney employees, not even from cast members who tend to be at ease with these sorts of things. No, this time it's dwarves. That's right, people with dwarfism. Those who are sometimes called little people are out protesting in mass with the signs and the songs and all of that, claiming that the House of Mouse is hurting their chances to capture their dreams. Hello, folks. Welcome back. We are so happy you are here with us, where we continue to find out what is the fuss happening with the Holly Weirds. As we get ready to get started and dive behind the curtains of the House of Mouse, we only ask that you click that like button. And folks, if you enjoy this sort of thing and want even more content, well, head on over to www.patreon.com/WDW Pro, where even more exclusives we have going on. All right, without me going on any further, here's the video, here's the panel, let's go! Small actors to protest Disney using CGI dwarves in the Snow White remake. It's by Max Stevens. Here's what it says. Walt Disney Studios is facing a mass protest from small actors and actresses over the decision to replace Snow White's 7 dwarves with CGI characters, because of course it is, because this is the movie that just keeps giving. Hundreds of little people, hundreds from all around the world, are expected to join them in solidarity outside the studio this week ahead of the release of the live-action remake. Allie Chapman, a 3'8" tall American actress, said the decision is robbing her cohort of one of the few opportunities available to appear in a high-profile Hollywood film. The 7 Dwarves were the stars of the original 1937 film, which is a classic, loved by millions of people. Disney has made a live-action film, and instead of giving 7 talented little people the chance to shine, they've scrapped us completely and used CGI instead. It's a total travesty, and there are a lot of angry little people, actors and actresses out there. People are flying in from all over the world to tell Disney this isn't acceptable. And there's an image of her. Panel, this just keeps getting worse and worse. Jonas, you actually had the chance to ask Warwick Davis about this very issue back during ICCCCCC on Too Many C's. Jonas, what did Warwick have to say, and what do you think about these protests happening now outside of the Walt Disney Company?
Well, I'll be frank. He was not very pleased with it, especially because he was talking about representation and how important that is in Hollywood, and how the fact that he never would have gotten his start if they weren't looking for legitimate people of a shorter stature or whatever phrase. The little people seems to be the phrase that he goes for there. That was the only reason he got his start in Hollywood, and he's had a great career that I think we've all enjoyed because of it. And his son Harrison, who is his own stunt double, also is being denied roles because of things like this. I suppose if they don't even put the role up, you can't really be denied for it. But this is a film that should be magical and fun and reminiscent of the ways that things used to be done. But instead, it's let's just put some CGI monstrosities out there. And the best they got is they got Martin Kleba to do the voice. And there's no reason for Martin Kleba to turn down that role. But they are going to do their own thing because they want to be so careful to not be offensive that they end up on the other side of it and be offensive.
Ron, this is not this. Let me go to Ron first. Ron, this is not what Disney wants. They like to be the ones in charge of the protest, and they don't like to be protested, and they surely don't like it when people are protesting them who would land in the categories that Disney wants on their side.
What I don't understand is the overreaction to what Peter Dinklage said a few years ago. It that never made any sense to me. Peter Dinklage made what was basically an offhand comment about one thing, and then there was this massive overreaction on whoever was in charge of this complete fiasco of a movie. I mean, Snow White and the 7 Dwarves was the name of the original film, and now we don't have any real dwarfs in this one. We have what has ended up being CGI monstrosities after we know for a fact. And by the way, they actually showed them in rehearsal footage This is something I saw very recently on X. I don't know if they meant to post this way, but there was rehearsal footage of them doing a dance, and it had to be way back in early 2021 because they were all wearing masks at the time, indoors doing this dance thing, and it was the same people, I believe, who were original cast as these 7 different people of various cultural backgrounds, whatever they were supposed to be. So they changed all that in reshoots or whatever. They brought in, they did CGI with the dwarfs instead of and by the way, do we even know what they're calling them in the movie? Are they calling them dwarfs, or are they calling them magical creatures? How has this even ended up?
I've heard magical creatures, but who knows how it's going to end up.
Yeah, so it's the whole thing is very convoluted.
I think they call them little men in the original. So,
okay, so yeah, it just and the whole point in the original, if I remember correctly, when I was watching it very recently, is she ends up being this kind of amazing mother figure to these dwarfs. I don't know that we know whether they were brothers or not, or whatever the heck they were, but they're living out there, and she comes along, and they haven't cleaned up their place. They're living the way however they were living. Snow White comes along. She loves them. She takes care of them. She becomes a mom to them. She kind of teaches them things, and they develop this sort of a mother and son's relationship, even though she's like clearly the younger one. And that's the whole development of her character. She, in her own way, becomes a leader back then, but it's not the girl boss type thing that they're trying to show in this new movie. The fact of the matter is that they overreacted, I think, to Peter Dinklage's comments, and I think that was prior. Was that prior to them casting this when he made those comments? This was very early on.
I'm not really sure that it was prior. It was after the film had been announced, and they probably had at least some pre-work done. They would have been deciding on the production phase what they were going to be doing at that point.
It was shortly after Rachel Zegler's
pre-production
casting was announced.
Okay, so the whole thing is they still could have gone forward with making this, like, that picture. It's just like, people have called them nightmare fuel, right? The CGI dwarfs, because they nightmare fuel. They don't look right, and it would have. I mean, we just had a run of a television show where they had the dwarfs represented by real people, real human beings. There's no real reason that this ever had to happen. They could have easily had dwarf characters portray these people. They could have still called them magical creatures or whatever. But these actors, I think, have a great point. They are cutting people out of representation. They're cutting these dwarf actors out of representation on the big screen. And by the way, well, I don't know if it was Marvin or somebody else, but that said that these people, they could have been stars. I mean, they could have had seven little people who could have become the next Peter Dinklage or the next Warwick Davis or whatever, and they've been held back from that now. That's completely.
But that's and well, therein lies the difference between Warwick Davis and Peter Dinklage. Warwick Davis runs a talent agency, I believe, that specifically advocates for little people actors in things. Peter the one person in this world that does not want there to be a next Peter Dinklage is Peter Dinklage.
Exactly.
Peter Dinklage took every dwarf role that was put in front of him. He did the scene in Elf. He did Game of Thrones, where for 5 or for however many seasons that show went, 7 seasons or whatever, they called him a dwarf and an imp and every name under the sun about his height. And now all of a sudden he thinks he's a Hollywood elite, and he kicked the stepladder down behind him. It's absolutely great. It is, and this is the point that I made in this article here, is that Disney's commitment to inclusion seems to end at little people. And that's not just Disney, it's Hollywood too, because I make the point in the article, you have Wonka, which was the Warner Brothers movie, wherein the Oompa Loompas were all played by CGI altered Hugh Grant. It has become, it's to the point where now, like, little people actors, they want to work, and Hollywood is like, no, your very existence is problematic.
There's more to it than that, if I may. What most people don't realize is that all of the family shows you've ever seen with children, their stand-ins are little people. And the reason is children can only work a limited number of hours, and the little people being grown-ups can work all day. Therefore, as we see family shows being phased out, as we see, all these cable sitcoms being grown-ups without children, there's less work for them in that arena as well. Hugely less work. So,
and instead of people who are dwarfs, people who have dwarfism playing dwarfs with dwarfism, instead we have this that looks like Conan O'Brien turned into a Rankin Bass mutant. Good Lord, that's merchandisable.
That's howdy doo-doo.
What's worse with that, Pro, is Disney is now claiming that it was always the plan for it to be CGI dwarfs. And we know the Hollywood Reporter has been parroting that, and all the other shill access media outlets are parroting that. If that is the case, that the only viable explanation for the fact that they look like this is that it was a last-minute thing. If you had all these years and you were always planning to make them CGI, the fact that they look like they belong in the first Shrek movie as far as CGI is completely unforgivable.
Well, just
So
look.
Disney
If you shrink the ears and you make the nose be appropriately proportioned, it's Conan O'Brien. It's literally Conan O'Brien as Dopey. Good Lord, the whole thing's dopey.
Dopey
The
Conan.
whole thing's dopey. Pulling Holly weird to the sensible center, the mainstream middle where money is made is not easy, but folks, you make it easy to make videos each and every day because sharing time with you is a great honor, and we never take it lightly. An attitude of gratitude every single time we have the chance to shine with you. Until the next time, we only ask that you click that like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, don't worry about paying any kind of tuition for this free class and how entertainment works. You are on scholarship. Highest IQ on the internet, that's you for sure. Until the next time we have the opportunity to spend time together, folks, we just ask that you keep learning, keep growing, and as ever, keep having fun.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun. Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio. What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.